Yo, what is going on, guys? J.Yumeko here, and today we're back with some more Everlasting Summer, Lena's Route. Last time we left off, we had generally the same sort of storyline experience, but it was with Lena kind of thrown into the mix. And we also had some more, we had some new scenes as well. So, and the last video got 81 views as of the time recording this, which I really didn't expect it to do that good. Like, I don't know what to say. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you guys are enjoying this series, and I'm excited to continue with it. So we're gonna have plenty more episodes to go, especially with this. Soon enough, I'm gonna be putting up a Kato Shoujo video going through the other routes. I'm gonna try and put out some Angel Wings videos going through the other routes, because I never fully finished that game with all the different characters. So that should be very, very fun. So yeah, let's just get right back on into it, because you guys absolutely killed that that last video. So thank you very much. So we're gonna load right back in. All right, where did we leave off? Okay, day 5, I guess. All right, so I believe that this should give us some different stuff to work with here, because I believe that last time I got to this point, I went straight to the infirmary because like my feet were hurting from yesterday. But I can probably go to the other places and see what is going on there. So we're gonna go to the clubhouse. I was desperately hungry. I always took good care of my health, and even better care at the times when something started to hurt badly. And now I was able to walk on my feet. And now I was able to walk, and my feet weren't even hurting much. So my feet will heal up eventually, while my hunger can't wait. I decided to take advantage of Electronic's invitation. Oh yeah, that's right, because this is when he invited us to, like, breakfast or something. In the end, knowing the local pioneers, it was smart to assume that there wasn't even a piece of stale bread left at the canteen, and the Cybernetics Club actually somewhat owed me. With such thoughts, I approached the club's building, and I heard screams coming from it. I tried to listen closely, but couldn't figure anything out. Give it back! Oh gosh, dude. Okay, I'm so sorry if I butchered these voices, because I woke up like an hour ago and my voice is so fucked right now. No, I won't! Legato was running around the room with a coil of wire in her hands, chased by Shirk. Guys, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but give it back! They didn't even give me a bit of attention. No, I won't! Shirk, completely caught up in the chase, slipped past me, almost knocking me down. Hey! Olyana was running in circles around the room, laughing cheerfully. I wonder what she needs the wire for. Meanwhile, the head of the Cybernetics Club was looking fine even after yesterday's madness. One could even say he was looking fresh. But this probably wouldn't help him to catch Olyana. She was smaller, more agile, and faster after all. She could easily drive him to exhaustion. Hey! Olyana ran up to me and hid behind my back. Shirk, in his turn, left the club, slamming the door on his way out. He was offended, it seems. Hey, what's wrong with you? You won't catch me! She looked at Electronic, who was silently observing all this silly running, and stuck out her tongue at him. Semyon, take the wire away from her! I have no idea what I gave Electronic's voice. And why do you need it? And why do you need it in the first place? You don't have enough wire or something? He was trying to catch Olyana, who was hiding behind me. He moved to the right while she moved to the left. He moved to the left, and she moved to the right. In the end, I got tired of this and grabbed the wire from Olyana with one dexterous move. Give it to me! Give it back! She shouted resentfully. No, I won't. Stop horsing around. I held the wire above my head so Olyana, with her height, couldn't possibly get it. Thank you. Okay, fine. She snorted and turned away from me. Why do you need it in the first place? It's none of your business. Good. I am butchering her voice right now. Olyana looked at me slyly. Do you want me to tell everybody that you... I shut her mouth with my hand and dragged her along to the exit. Okay, we need to go. I told Electronic while giggling stupidly. And what did you come for? Once outside, I let the kicking Olyana free. Hear me out. You realize that it was an accident. Even more so, it was caused by you. I know nothing.
Facts are, you were watching us. Aww. What would Olga Dmitrievna think?
Oh man, I butchered her voice so bad, dude. On the one hand, I did not care in the slightest what the camp leader would say. But on the other hand, everything was against me, and in my position, it would be better not to get myself involved in such a situation. Just for some context, this takes place after I ended up kind of peeping at Olyana and, what was her name? Lena? Alana? Something like that. The orange-haired girl. And, because I was like taking a shower or something, trying to wash myself off, and then they walked up and started doing the same thing. So, fine, maybe we can make a deal somehow. She started to think.
I know.
I anticipated the worst.
You bring me that wire.
But what do you need it for?
I need it for my needs.
Okay, let's assume I get it. You won't tell anybody?
I give you the word of a pioneer.
I could hardly believe her. But on the other hand, it was just a coil of wire, so why shouldn't I try? Accept or refuse? I don't think it matters in this run, so let's just accept it. Okay, fine.
Deal.
But you must know that...
Yeah, of course.
She interrupted me. Wait here. Saying that, I went back into the club's quarters. Electronic was building something with rapt attention. Now I'm done with everything, so I thought you could give me something as you promised. My voice sounded a bit psychophantic, which was enough to drive me mad. Of course I'm not insisting it, but... 1 minute. He tore himself away from his work and got a pair of buns from the drawer and a classic triangular pack of kefir. Be my guest. Thanks. While I was busy eating, Electronic didn't turn away from his device for a second. He was rolling up the wire, which I had taken from Olyana, into a coil. And it was the wire she wanted. So, what's this? An inductor. An inductor? Join our club and you'll know everything. He looked at me and smiled slyly. I'll think about it. Of course, I wasn't going to join anything, but taking into account that he had fed me, I had to be polite. By the way, as I said, I have something else. Well, yeah. Wait a second. He went into the adjacent room and came back after a minute with some kind of package. Tan-ta-da! And gave it to me. There was a big bottle of Stolichnya vodka inside. Huh. I get it, but it's still morning. Where does Electronic share the motto of get drunk in the morning and take the entire day off? What are you talking about? I'm not suggesting we drink it. We have to clean the optics. Cleaning the optics. Yeah, right. Internally. Okay. I gave the package back. By the way, can you spare me this coil? What do you need it for? Probably I had to think about the reason beforehand. I just need it. But we can't do without it as well. Do you? Well, never mind then. I can't just force him to give it to me, right? I'll go then. Come back anytime. Of course. The moment I want to have a drink. Walking out, I questioned myself why he wanted to show me the vodka in the first place. Olyana ran up to me instantly.
And so, have you got it?
No.
That's your own fault then.
Do you need the wire at all?
But you get credit for trying.
God, my voice is just cracking all over the place, dude. What? I was surprised. Oh, Alyssa, that was her name.
Alyssa would tell everything anyway.
Olyana laughed.
She's really angry with you.
I bet. I muttered quietly.
Okay, see ya.
She waved at me and ran away. Here I am in a stupid situation once again. No big deal. It's not the first time. Suddenly, my hunger returned again. For sure, a meal of some buns and kefir was awesome, but it's not enough to fill me up. Luckily for me, I heard the bell sound, calling pioneers for lunch. Try to find out what they're arguing about. Okay. Only Lena and Alyssa stood out in all this splendor. Well, of course, it was quite natural for Alyssa to be arguing with someone like that, but hearing Lena talk in a raised voice, I came closer silently, trying to find out what was going on.
No, you listen to me. I'm not gonna listen to anything. Really? Great then.
Alyssa turned away and her eyes met mine. At first, she obviously was confused about what was going on, but then...
So you're eavesdropping?
What? Me? No. She began slowly advancing on me, and I took a few steps back. Lena, however, remained where she was standing.
Well, okay then. Listen.
Alyssa stopped halfway and turned back to Lena.
By the way, did you know he was peeping on me today? What? Peeping, and he saw everything. Is that true?
Lena wrung her hands distressedly, giving me a quick glance and started staring at the ground, as if she was cut off from the world. No, nothing like that happened. Having thrown an angry glance at Alyssa, I came up to Lena.
Why are you denying it? I even have a witness.
Your witness is even worse than you.
So you stick to your claim that it didn't happen?
I took a second to think. But really, why do I have such a pathological desire to exonerate myself before Lena? As though I vitally need it. As though I vitally need it. Need her opinion of me to remain unchanged. Though, how could I know what she's thinking? It didn't happen. Lena threw a baleful look at Alyssa and raised her eyes to me after that. Eyes full of discomfort and hope. It suddenly became unbearable to stare into these eyes. It didn't happen. I repeated, less confidently. Well, whatever. Alyssa sneered from behind me. It's up to you to decide who to trust, she said to Lena offhandedly, then turned away and headed to the bonfire.
Is that true?
I felt uncomfortable, like a fish out of water, feeling the urge to end this as fast as possible. And why should I have to excuse myself to her? Well, so what if it did happen? I looked at Lena boldly, but noticed only a bright sunset gleam reflected in a tear which was going down her cheek. No, I meant...
You don't need to lie.
She wiped her tears and tried to smile.
After all, it's none of my business.
No, why isn't it... But why is it? It's just that well, it was an accident, get it? An accident which was caused by Ilyana, nothing more.
Yeah, sure.
It's true.
I believe you.
Lena was saying everything with absolutely no emotion, like she didn't care at all about what was going on. I was almost able to believe it, but her tears a few seconds ago. It seems to me that you don't.
What is this, some kind of game?
Lena said quietly, but there was a hint of anger in her tone.
You really need to convince me of that? And even if I believed you, what then? Would it all become true?
I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I just want you to understand that I'm not guilty and didn't want to.
Why should I care at all?
Lena shouted. I was standing with my back to the bonfire, but I was sure that all the pioneers had turned in our direction.
If you want to peep at someone, do it. Do whatever you want. But why do you bother me?
I'm not... But really, from any point of view, it looked that way. I'm trying to excuse myself to Lena with no success. Like a guilty child. Or maybe even like a husband who'd slipped up.
Just so you know, I don't care.
Lena turned away and headed back to the camp at a fast walk. And I didn't try to stop her. Now it certainly wasn't the best solution. She's on edge. No attempts to convince her or appeal to reason would help. Since when was she like that? Screaming that way. Getting mad. With these thoughts in my mind, I returned to the bonfire and sat down on a wooden log. A fight, huh? So? Alyssa asked after seating herself nearby. What? Not a great success, huh? As you see, I growled out while picking at the coals with a stick. It grew completely dark and the glade was plunged into darkness. The surrounding landscape was reminiscent of a picture from a child's book about a wood monster. An unknown forest creature is just about to spring out from behind the tree. Predatory owls hoot menacingly in tree branches. Even mice looking out from snags stare at you with distrust. I was not afraid at the moment. Everything was different from the previous day when I was in the dungeon at the old camp. The moon was shining brightly, paying close attention to our brave troop. The world was sleeping, waiting for morning, bathing in the moonlight. As I thought, though it was expected, but why? I finally managed to pick up the largest burning coal and throw it into the center of the fire, causing the flames to rise about a meter high, and a vortex of sparks to spread out in all directions. Does Lena often behave like that? How? Screaming at others. I couldn't believe she would react in such a way. She's human like anyone else. Alyssa giggled. Also, if you hadn't noticed this before... What hadn't I noticed? Her. What do you mean? I mean, this is her true face. What do you mean, true face? Oh, you're stupid. Finish what you started. She's not what she seems like. Not like how you thought of her before. So how is she? Okay, I'm sick of this. Alyssa stood up, intending to leave. I didn't say anything. Just sat and listened to the silence of the forest. By the way, if you want to follow her, I think she's on the island. On what island? The one where you were gathering strawberries today? And what's she doing there? Ugh, you're really an idiot. Alyssa stomped on the ground, circled the campfire, and sat opposite. I must have really lost track of things. My head was absolutely blank. To be precise, it was so heavy and full so that not even a single idea would have the chance to dwell there. If I would compare my brain at its prime to a broad highway full of speeding thoughts overtaking each other and causing giant chaotic crashes, then now it's nothing but a forgotten tiny path in a distant desolate forest, which is only used in times of absolute necessity. I tried to think over what had happened, analyze it somehow, but it seemed I was bashing against an invisible wall. Moreover, it was impossible for me to find a single emotion in my soul, any response, as if it had all happened to someone else. I failed to convince Lena that I'm not guilty. Should I care? Lena cried, screamed, then left. So what? I don't feel anything about it. Should I? I bit my lip until it bled and stood up. I couldn't bear to stand here any longer with these laughing pioneers. I should run away. It doesn't matter where to. To the forest, to the mine, even to space. I don't care. Just as long as I can get far away from here. I seized a moment when the camp leader was looking in another direction and vanished into the forest shadows. There'd been no rain for a long time. However, I'm not sure whether it rains here at all. What a stupid idea. Of course it does. The plants need some moisture. The night was fresher than the afternoon, but the air still hadn't had enough time to cool. I felt a little dizzy from the evening stiffness. Suddenly, I realized that I wanted to swim. It's quite a normal desire because the days are hot and you constantly feel soaked with sweat during the daytime. I didn't even notice I had been approaching the pier. Why not the beach? Thoughts of Lena came over me again. Everything that I tried to ignore came out and brought lots of inconvenient questions, inappropriate answers, and vague desires. It was obvious that I had been led to the pier by my subconscious. But what do I really want? To apologize to her for something? To convince her of something? No, unlikely. I just wanted to get some sort of reaction from her. Wanted her to say, yes, I understand everything, and just smile. And then I could stop myself from feeling like that. It was necessary for me to be understood by someone, even in this world. I untied the boat, pushed it into the water, got in, and took up the paddles. It was easy to row this time. My hands were still hurting, but I managed to develop some sort of technique that allowed me to travel quite directly. The river seemed frozen, spreading under the boat like a translucent veil. The moonlight was piercing deep into the water, so it was almost possible to see the bottom. I started rowing. Surprisingly, the island now seemed the same as it did in the daytime. Here, usually everything is different. After dusk, it felt like another world, a mystery world. Scary at times, but beautiful in its own way. A world of shadows and whispers. A nocturnal world. I slowly walked around the island, looking for the boat which Lena took to come here. The grass softly rustled under my feet. The occasional waves peacefully struck the shore and bounced back like flies too tired from beating on the glass. The breeze from the water lazily stirred the leaves of the trees, out of habit rather than a real desire to make the night groves sing. I looked at this wonderful picture with such delight that I didn't even notice I stumbled into something. It was a boat. Well, of course, you wouldn't get here by swimming. I headed towards the center of the island. After 100 meters, I heard a rustling from behind a tree.
Don't come any closer,
Lena whispered. I hesitated.
Don't come any closer,
She said louder. How do you know it's me? Though she hadn't indicated that she'd known that. All right. I leaned against the tree, trying not to look behind it. Alyssa told me that you'd be here.
So what?
It was difficult for me to know what emotions Lena was experiencing. Her voice was steady enough, even though I could read irritation and annoyance in it. I could not understand whether she was angry or whether it was all the same to her. That came out awkward. I was doing my best to avoid unnecessary apologies and excuses, but couldn't find other words to use instead.
Was that the only reason you came?
No. Well, I don't know.
You don't know, but you still came?
Yeah.
You shouldn't have.
Why? Of course, if I'm bothering you.
Why are you following me?
She was right. It certainly looked that way. Moreover, I definitely felt attracted to her. You shouldn't think like this.
How should I think?
I don't know.
I can only draw conclusions based on your behavior.
I really don't know. I guess I'd better go. I was confused, and it was hard to just be near her.
Why? Since you came.
I seemed to hear a playful tone in her voice. All right.
And?
What?
What did Alyssa tell you?
Nothing special.
I see.
Yeah.
Well then.
Yep. We just stayed silent for a while.
Since you came, tell me about something.
Well, I don't know.
For example, about what happened this morning.
What about what happened this morning?
You know.
You yourself didn't want to talk about it.
I didn't want to, but now I want to.
Lena's voice trembled. I couldn't understand what was happening at all anymore. Maybe it's not her behind the tree?
Don't look.
Okay, but what's wrong?
Nothing, just don't look.
All right, as you wish.
So, nothing happened?
Well, something did. But that was all just a silly accident.
Then why are you so worried what I think about it?
I'm not worried. And anyway, you yourself... I said louder, beginning to feel irritated.
What about me?
Why are you so concerned about the situation?
Who said that I'm concerned about this situation?
Then what?
Nothing,
she said in a whisper and fell silent. Such talk would lead us nowhere. Lena won't say anything, and I seem to be too stupid to guess, or even just to be sure about myself. Sorry. I guess it's my fault. I just can't understand.
Why?
What?
Why do you keep apologizing for everything? For what you did, for what you're doing, even what you haven't done yet?
But maybe she was right. But I couldn't behave differently. I felt the need to apologize to her, to everyone. So they wouldn't think badly of me, wouldn't laugh at me. So I can put away something unsaid and eliminate misunderstandings.
Anyway, that's your business.
Lena got angry.
Apologize, make excuses? Why should I care?
Okay, well, I'm not guilty. In fact, I don't think I could be blamed for anything, but then that's wrong. But then what's wrong? What's wrong with you?
Why would something be wrong with me?
I don't know. I just think so.
Oh, so you just think so?
She laughed.
You speak as if you know me.
I did not answer.
Please leave,
Lena said after a while. I didn't move. Just could not. Had no strength to do so. I wanted nothing at this point. Didn't want to excuse myself, to apologize. I didn't even want her understanding. I was too tired of everything. Why?
Just leave,
she whispered. I don't want to.
Then I'll leave.
Let's just go together.
No.
How long are you going to be offended? By what? What's wrong with you? Everyone here behaves normally except you. I didn't care what my words meant, as if they'd been said by someone else and the topic of a conversation meant nothing.
You really don't understand anything. Alyssa was right.
About what?
Never mind.
I closed my eyes to think over it. No, I can't go. I don't understand. Don't know what to think, what to do. And since when did I stop worrying about my situation in this world, or how to get back? Since when was the only thing I could think about Lena, or how others would look at me, or how my actions looked from the other side? It's just stupid, and it's not like me. In fact, it's inappropriate in this situation. In short, I didn't do anything, and don't intend to justify the things which I didn't do. There was no reply. Hey, do you hear me? I finally decided to see who was actually behind the tree, but no one was there. So she left. I rushed over to Lena's boat, but she was already far away, almost near the pier. Whatever! I shouted, and walked along the shore. I got back relatively quickly without much trouble. However, my hands still ached terribly, and my eyes were closing themselves. Probably such a physical and, more importantly, emotional load is too much for one person. I walked slowly towards the camp leader's cabin, staring down at my feet and thinking about nothing. Someone called to me at the square. Hey! Alyssa ran up to me. Have you been to the island? Yeah. To tell the truth, I didn't want to talk to her about anything, but I already didn't have the strength to lie to her. And how'd it go? Doesn't matter. I'm very tired and I'm gonna sleep. Come on, tell me! Her face had such a nasty grimace that I shuddered with rage. Why should you care? Well, I just... She murmured in dismay. Mind your own business. I snapped and quickened my pace towards the cabins. Alyssa didn't try to stop me. Annoyingly, Olga Dmitrievna had not returned yet, and I could not find my key. What if I lost it? The only thing I could do was wait. I plopped down on the deck chair and closed my eyes. My heart was heavy and my soul was torn apart by vague expectations. From time to time, I had a feeling that I was already dead, just without realizing it, and had been thrown into hell. But really, instead of trying to get out of here, I'm spinning on a diabolical roundabout, and it just goes faster and faster. I'm becoming more and more involved in the life of this world, of this camp, as if I had no past life, the real one. As if I was always interested in the opinions of others. Damn it, I never cared about it. Why right here? Why right now? I recalled the face of Lena in tears. Yeah, probably not the opinions of others, but her opinion was the one I cared about. I heard far footsteps, and after a while, Olga Dmitrievna appeared. She looked at me for a few seconds, seemed like she was going to say something, but then just sighed, opened the door with her key, and went in. I followed her. Shapeless shadows, blurry memories, fragments of feelings and emotions swirled in my head for a long time. For so long that after a while I couldn't tell where I was or what was happening to me. The only salvation was sleep. Well. Oh, okay. That's never happened before. I woke up because someone was shaking my shoulders. It was too hard for me to open my eyes, so I just whined pathetically. Get up already, you're gonna miss the lineup. Once I realized what Olga Dmitrievna wanted from me and what time it was, I rolled over to face the wall. I was so tired that I wanted to choke the camp leader just so she would quit disturbing my recovery from a hellish yesterday. Semyon, get up immediately! I mustered up my strength, opened my eyes, and sat up. Olga Dmitrievna, I understand, but I had a very hard day yesterday. Can I at least sleep in today? I started pleading. It's out of the question. Lineup is mandatory for every pioneer, and you've already missed it a few times. My head went completely numb, so I just couldn't find any arguments against that. In a couple of minutes, we were already standing at the square. I dozed off, taking great pains to not fall asleep on my feet, so I missed everything that Olga Dmitrievna announced. The majority of the pioneers seemed to feel the same. Electronic yawned constantly. Alyssa had huge baggy eyes. Only Ilyana seemed to be full of health and energy as always. I swept my eyes over the lineup yet again, and couldn't find Lena. That's odd. Generally, she's a diligent and committed girl. It's unlike her to miss such events. On the other hand, that was too much for her yesterday. Such stress. She's probably depressed. although such behavior from her was very surprising. I mean, I'd expect that from some kind of person she wanted others to see her as, but I never expected such a drastic change. Lena, amazingly, somehow reminded me of Alyssa, even more harsh and brutal at times. And now I wasn't sure how to behave around her. I was simply afraid of her. So, okay, I want to make a little note here. I think that Lena and Alyssa are like polar opposites. Because Alicia is like kind of more tsundere, right? Where she comes off really harsh, but she actually like, is, well, at the very least, can be fairly caring and sort of like timid, right? While Lena comes off as timid and caring, but in reality, she's a lot harsher than that. Finally, lineup was over and the Pioneers dragged themselves off to breakfast. Miku caught up with me near the canteen.
Simon, good morning. Did you sleep? How did you sleep? Any dreams? How are you? Ready for breakfast?
She, as always, blabbered without a break, adding a cute smile at the same time. I'm okay, I answered lazily.
Today's quite gloomy, maybe because of the weather. It's quite dark and may even rain. So yeah, everyone is sad and gloomy. I thought maybe something happened, but no one told me what. Can you imagine that? Something happened and nobody knows about it apart from me. I was so sad about it, but then...
Don't worry, you didn't miss the end of the world. I delivered a snarky remark.
Huh?
It looked like she was so into her monologue that she was completely oblivious to everything around her. And if you're gonna miss it somehow, I'll make sure to let you know. Nothing. Enjoy your meal. I marched to the canteen with a firm step to get my daily portion of fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. To my surprise, the seat in the far corner was free. I sat down and tried really hard to make a face that wouldn't let everyone know there's really no need to come anywhere near me unless there was an emergency. I just wanted to sit alone and think. Moreover, keeping my mind off other things was making me less sleepy.
Hi, mind if I join you?
I did not notice Slavia standing there. Strange. Sure, I answered after hesitating for a second.
Bad mood?
A bit.
Did something happen?
Not really.
You don't have to tell me if you don't want to.
There's nothing to tell you about. We kept eating in silence until I asked, Where did you go last night?
Me? Oh, I just wanted to be alone for a while.
That's not like you. I felt a bit more lively.
Really? Well, maybe. It's also not often that yours seems so gloomy.
She might be right. Even in the most unfavorable circumstances, I've always tried to have a positive outlook on things. Not that I was an optimist, I just always tried not to feel too down. Keeping my previous life in mind, it's only natural. As soon as you let depression get a hold of you, the news will start to look very appealing. Perhaps. When Slavia was done with her meal, I was still poking the porridge with my spoon.
I'll be going.
By the way, have you seen Lena?
Nope. Why do you ask?
I didn't see her at the morning lineup. That's odd. That's not like her.
Maybe you're right. I don't think it's a big deal, to be honest.
Yeah, of course. I was just wondering. I sat for a few more minutes in place and then headed outside without finishing my breakfast. Today was quite gloomy. The first gloomy day during my time here. I've kind of gotten used to the bright and burning sunlight. Oh yeah, just look at this. Look at this gloominess. You can't even hear a single bird chirping because of how gloomy it is. The heat that would only subside by the evening seemed to be an irreplaceable component of this place. It looks like even here the weather changes after all. Almost like it's matching my mood. It looks like just more proof that this place or its creators are sentient and have great storytelling skills. Wow, the devs of this game are really patting themselves on the back here, huh? Sometimes I really wanted to focus on a single theory of mine, congregate on it and forget about all others. Just to decide for myself that it's all done by aliens, or I'm in a parallel universe, or witchcraft, or military experiments. Just to pick one and be done with it. To stop thinking about all possible explanations to this situation, constantly jumping from one to another. Just to focus on a single one. But it's impossible. I have almost no facts about anything. Nothing extraordinary has happened to me here yet. Yes, some odd things took place, but they can happen in the real world too. After yet another cycle of similar thoughts, I found myself at the bus stop of Route 410 and the gates of the Camp Sovianok. No answers, no hints, no clues. I was walking wherever my legs were taking me. It was quiet in the residential area, not a single person there to be precise. My astonishment grew even more when Electronic appeared around the next turn. I wanted to call out to him but stopped, because he was going a little too confidently in an unknown direction. It's strange. That goes against his nature. Anyway, what can I talk with Electronic about? And yeah, I'd have to start the conversation first. Seems like I was completely in despair. However, it would be interesting to follow him and to find out where he was rushing to. As a child, I liked games of spies, and here's a chance to put myself into a real spy's shoes. I decided not to sneak and hide in a special way and just tailed him quietly at a distance. Soon we came to the library. Electronic knocked and went inside. I stood behind a big tree so that nobody could see me and began to wait. He was absent for quite a long time. Perhaps this is a stupid idea, but because in fact, what difference does it make if he went into the library? Maybe he just decided to get something to read? He was walking fast, so what? Perhaps he had some business afterwards. Fucking goddamn, that scared the shit out of me. My thoughts were disturbed by a loud door slam. I looked towards the library and saw Electronic running away from there, and Xenia, who ran after him, shouting along the way. "I don't want to hear it anymore, or to see you either!" They ran past me, but naturally they were so involved in chasing that they didn't notice me. The whole situation seemed very funny, and I decided that I needed to find out what the matter was. I wonder, where could Electronic be running to like that? Let's talk at the clubhouses. Yes, it's quite obvious that he ran straight to his native cybernetics club. I entered without knocking, but didn't find anyone inside. "Electronic, it's me!" The sound of footsteps came from the next room, and soon Electronic himself appeared. "Hey, Simeon, I'm just..." His eyes ran guiltily, and his shirt had visible traces of sweat. "Going in for sports, I see." "Sprinting." You saw that?" he asked, doomed. "Yeah, purely by chance. So I decided to stop by and ask how you were doing, and see what happened." "Nothing special, really." "Indeed, fleeing from an angry librarian. It's nothing. You can tell me." I smiled disarmingly. "Really? And you won't tell?" "Of course. Silent as the dead. Cross my heart." It seems I exaggerated there a bit, but it looks like it had convinced him. "Okay." He took a deep breath, gathering strength. "You know, I've liked Xenia since the first day." At those words, I wanted to fall to the floor and start rolling around, shaken violently by attacks of laughter, but out of respect for him, I refrained. Still, his next few words flew past my ears. "And so I just decided... Well, and you saw what happened next. What happened next." A brave fellow indeed. "Well, you know..." Well, you... Try harder and I guess you'll succeed." I patted him on the shoulder, trying really hard not to laugh. "Thanks for the support." He smiled sadly. "Alright, I have to go. Got some work to do." I shot out of the clubhouse like a bullet and finally laughed out loud. However, if you think about it, Electronic and Xenia would make a wonderful couple. They're actually a perfect match. Strange to think that Xenia rejected him. I was going towards the square thinking further about this episode. At the end of the day, Electronic's not such a simpleton. Just like that, he declared his love, even realizing that refusal will follow. Or, on the contrary, is it just because he's as simple as an apple pie? Either way, you can feel the honesty and sincerity in his behavior. More complicated people would spend hours, days, months, years thinking about how to present this in a better way, what consequences it could have, and whether you should even bother. I would do so myself. No, rather, I have done so. But he just said it. Unsuccessfully, of course, but it could have also gone differently. These thoughts made me completely melancholy, so much so that the lunch signal, usually so anticipated, didn't trigger any emotions at all. The canteen was chock full. It seems that the camp was slowly emerging from the morning depression. Maybe the sun that had come out behind the clouds contributed to that, or maybe something else that I'd missed while running after Electronic. Only the places next to Liana and Alyssa turned out to be free. I braced myself and started walking towards them. Eating was still a necessity. Can I sit with you? Oh, just sit down.
Why are you so gloomy?
It's just that you're too cheerful. I'm trying to maintain the energy balance in the universe. Oyana giggled. Oddly enough, the girls didn't pay attention to me and talked about their own concerns. At first, I thought it was good, but then I started to think that they were just taking no notice of me. By the way, where's Lena? Because of all my thinking, I'd completely forgotten about her. I don't know, Alyssa answered absently. Has she still not appeared? As you can see. I took a look around the canteen, but didn't see her anywhere. And nobody's heard anything about her? Nope. Don't you find it strange?
What's so strange? Maybe she's reading. Maybe asleep or something.
Seems more like you're talking about yourself. It's none of your business, is it? Alyssa interjected angrily. Well, if a person's missing... You weren't so worried when Shirk disappeared. That's quite different. Yeah, and why, I wonder? I had no answer, and just blankly looked at Alyssa before going back to my food. She did not insist on continuing the conversation. Lunch was over. I silently stood up and went out of the canteen without a goodbye. So, Lena disappeared. What should I do now? On the other hand, why should I do anything? Why me? Where am I and why am I here? Who are all these people? One cannot be absolutely sure whether Lena is what she seems. Perhaps all this doesn't even exist, so why should I worry? However, for me now Lena is still the same Lena. The modest, quiet girl I met on the first day. And even her strange behavior cannot affect my attitude towards her. In the end, it's not certain that I still exist. So while the world is logical, at least to some extent, I have to play by its rules. I quickly went back to the camp leader's cabin. Once inside, I saw Olga Dmitrievna lying on the bed and reading a book. Do you know where Lena is?
No. Why are you asking?
She's nowhere to be found. She missed both breakfast and lunch.
So what?
She looked at me blankly. What do you mean, so what? When Shirk was gone, the whole camp was searching for him from the early morning.
I don't understand you.
There's something strange happening to the camp leader again. She was behaving absolutely incomprehensibly, illogically. Do you think it's normal? So where is she now?
I don't know.
Olga Dmitrievna replied calmly. This is too much. I started to lose my temper.
Ask Miku. She is her roommate after all.
That was a good idea, because obviously I would get no more answers here. I went outside, slammed the door, and went to look for Miku's and Lena's cabin. It was nice that the orchestra girl had told me where she lives, which is why I was at the door of her cabin a minute later. I should have knocked, but for some reason I didn't. After a few deep breaths, I knocked on the door several times.
Come in!
I heard a familiar voice. Hi, do you know where Lena is?
No, I haven't seen her today. You're looking for her, right?
Don't you think it's strange? By that time, I'd started suspecting everybody of hiding information about Lena's location, of conspiracy, of involvement in me being here, of Kennedy's assassination, and hundreds of others of terrible things.
Well, maybe. I thought she went somewhere and then I just got lost in doing things. Breakfast, music club, helping to clean, and then lunch, and then...
Okay, I see. And what about yesterday? Was everything normal?
Well, she came late and immediately went to bed. I didn't notice anything wrong.
No chance of finding out anything here either. Thanks. I said abruptly and left. At that moment, it seemed to me that the missing Lena was the only living person in this pack full of talking dummies, and I had to find her. However, it seemed almost impossible to do so I went for help. Who would be the most willing to help me? Of course, Slavia. I decided that this time she would be engaged in cleaning something. For example, the square. So I went there. My sixth sense didn't let me down. Hi.
Hey.
Have you seen Lena?
No. Why are you asking?
Nobody's seen her since this morning. She was absent during breakfast, as well as during lunch.
Strange.
I also think it is, to put it mildly, strange. Can you help me find her?
Oh, sorry. Maybe later. I've got cleaning here to finish.
It was like a lightning strike. I took a few awkward steps back and ran away from this place. No, that was not her. It was as if somebody else had replaced her. Not only her, but also the other inhabitants of the camp. What's happening? The strangest thing is that it doesn't have anything to do with me, but with Lena. Maybe she came here the same way I did. Exactly. That could be the reason why she behaves quietly most of the time. No, wait, but what about her knowing Alyssa? No, something doesn't quite add up. My head was going to explode and I started to choke. After catching my breath, I looked around and found myself at the bus stop. I sat on the curb and covered my face with my hands. If before nothing had really been up to me, was going relatively smoothly, then now I was, as always, helpless. But the situation was totally different. That was a very weird sentence. Watching the battle fought from the side with no threat to your life and being on the hot spot without being able to help the ones you care about are two different things. I was just sitting. Time passed and the sun began to fall. Probably dinner has already started. Though what's the difference? I still don't want to eat. I stood up and trudged back to the camp on rubber legs. As always, the only thing left to do is wait. I decided to go to the beach. While everybody was at dinner, I could sit quietly and think here. Though what could I think about? Enough, maybe? However, my expectations were ruined. On the beach, I met Xenia, which greatly surprised me. You also came here? She looked at me from behind her glasses.
Do you think I'm not a human being?
No, I didn't mean that.
Then what did you mean?
Nothing. By the way, have you seen Lena? No. I see.
What do you want from her?
Well, nobody's seen her since yesterday evening.
Do you think that somebody could get lost in this camp?
She laughed loudly. Shurik succeeded.
That was a special case. Those guys are two peas in a pod, and you never know what to expect from them.
I immediately remembered the morning incident. Tell me, why were you chasing Electronic this morning? Xenia got uncomfortable.
It's none of your business.
Just asking.
Because he's a fool.
She turned away after these words. Maybe you shouldn't be so strict towards him. Even to me, it wasn't clear whether I'm defending Electronic or just keeping the conversation going.
Then how else should I treat him?
Well, give him a chance. You know, such an act requires a lot of courage.
You say it as if it means something special, some kind of achievement. Would you be able to do that yourself?
I thought and answered after a while. I don't know. Haven't had the right moment yet.
I hope you'll have it soon.
Xenia said rudely and walked towards the canteen. I sat down on the sand and thought. True that, Electronic was able to say it, but can I do the same thing? That is the question. A big question. If I got the right moment. But which and when? It's always easy to think about something ephemeral, to get ready for dozens of possible situations, to predict the following events for many steps ahead. But most of the time it all goes differently. Even a small event is enough to ruin all your plans. And if you're not ready to do it at any time, whether under any circumstances, if you're ready only when everything is exactly as you expected, it is likely you'll never get anything worthwhile. Therefore, the only correct answer to Xenia's question was no. Not an ambiguous, uncertain, half-hearted, or forced answer. Just no. There's only a simple yes and a simple no. It's always been hard for me to understand that. Between these two extremes, I always worked in a great number of different answers, like maybe, perhaps, probably if, and not sure but I'll try. I was so absorbed with my thoughts that I didn't notice how the darkness stole across the camp. Under other circumstances, I would have gone to sleep by now. But looking for Lena at night was not a good idea. I got up and slowly wandered aimlessly. Soon the path led me to the sports ground. I stood here for a moment and was about to leave when I heard noises. Clap. Another clap. Something painfully familiar. I ran towards the volleyball court and saw Lena, who was unsuccessfully trying to hit the shuttlecock with the racket. I stood in shock for a long time. My head was completely empty. I just looked at her and felt a sense of joy. Joy at finding her. Joy at seeing her again. Finally, I came to my senses and decided to approach. But after a couple of steps, I stopped. And what do I say now? Glad I found you? Where have you been? I was worried. After yesterday's conversation, it's unlikely she wants to see me. And what if Lena asked me why I was trying to look for her? Why I was worrying? I did not know why myself. Probably because she was absent for too long. Maybe if it wasn't her, but some other person who I'd know, I'd have been worried the same way. Maybe if I'd behaved differently yesterday, she would not have disappeared today. I'm not sure, but I'll try to come up with something adequate. I took another step and stopped again. Probably. Maybe. Perhaps. Not sure. Again and again, these words appeared in my mind. And my life. Unconsciously, without my will. But why? For what purpose? I have to make a decision, once and for all. Although, there are two simple words. Yes and no. Finally, it's all clear. I went to the court, approached Lena, smiled and said, "Hey!" She turned around and looked at me. "Hi." "You were absent all day." "Yeah, I was walking around." Everything she said was quiet and calm, with no trace of embarrassment or shyness. With no emotions at all, in fact. "We worried about you." The only one who worried was me. "You shouldn't have." "But you can't disappear like that." I tried to smile to make my words not sound like a reproach. "I don't think anybody cares about that." "I care for one." "Why?" I read surprise in her eyes. Because it's not right." No matter how I tried to be perfectly honest, it came out wrong. "Ah, I see. Okay, I won't do this again." It seemed like this conversation was not interesting to her. Silence followed. I just didn't know what else to say, and Lena seemed to be quite content with the silence. "Are you any good?" I finally said, pointing at the racket. "Not very. If you want, No, I don't." She walked to the bench and put down her racket and birdie. "Okay." To tell the truth, I did not expect that response. "Want to look at the stars together?" "Yeah, of course." I sat down beside her. Lena intently studied the sky. Lots of small lights shined above me. Some of them were brighter, some were barely visible. I never really understood what people see in just sitting back and looking at the stars. After all, here on Earth, they're just small dots of light, and it's unlikely that many people would know what kind of celestial bodies they are, as well as their size and how far they are from us. Of course, it's so romantic to just enjoy the light of distant stars, but for me, it was like staring at a brick wall. It also has its potholes, unevenness in the brickwork, patterns on the stone. A stellar sky in miniature. "So what do you see there?" "Stars," she said mysteriously, with her head up. "Yeah, I know. I see them too. But what's so special about them?" "I don't know. It seems that they talk to me, and there are other people there. They have their own life, probably not much better than ours. And they too look at the sky and see the earth, me and you." Voices of the distant stars. I had already heard that somewhere else. "You can call it that." "Interesting theory." No, the theory is quite common." Lena looked at me. In the dim moonlight, I noticed a small tear rolling down her cheek. Or at least I thought I did. "I guess I'm just a mere, let's say, practical person." She said nothing, just stared at the sky again. "But if you think about it, of course, there's endless interstellar space. Millions of planets, hundreds of galaxies. It's fascinating." My voice sounded unnaturally excited. "You don't need to talk about all these things." "About what?" "About this. About everything." "No, the stars are really beautiful." "Why did you come?" Now she was crying for sure. I was looking for you." "Why?" "I don't know why. I just was." "You found me. Happy now?" "Well," I mumbled. "Why didn't you go to Alyssa?" "What does she have to do with it?" "Are you trying to say that it's not about her?" Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Why did you bring up this topic again? I thought we already cleared everything up. Of course, we didn't clear anything up. To be precise, we didn't even start to. However, I don't understand why all this is necessary. You think I really want to talk about it myself? If you don't, then why? Because. It's because of you. Because of me what? You and Alyssa. Me and Alyssa what? We don't have a relationship. We don't have anything at all. Don't lie to me. Lena turned away, sobbing quietly. Why is this so important to her? What else can I say if you don't believe me? Tell me the truth. I've already told you. Then go to her. Why should I go to her? I don't want to go anywhere. Why are you sitting here and torturing me? Oh Lord, how am I torturing you? Lena didn't answer. I've been looking for you the entire day because I was worried. I came here because you're here. I'm sitting here because I want to be here. Why don't you understand? She stopped crying for a moment. Is that true? Of course. I mean, something to you? Even taking into account all the things I've just said, this question came at me unexpectedly. Well, yes. If only you could hear yourself now. She cried, got up, and walked briskly towards the exit of the sports ground. Wait! I caught up with her and grabbed her arm, but she pulled out of my grip. Don't touch me! Now Lena was a totally different person, and I couldn't say that she was aggressive, assertive, or super strong-willed. She just had no doubts about what she was doing. Wait! What did I say? It's all true! Save all this nonsense for her! I tried to stop Lena once again, but she glared at me so strongly that I did not dare to argue. Just imagine how I feel. You make up a bunch of stupid things and now you think I'm guilty of all mortal sins. Why should you care? I should. She stopped for a moment and looked at me. It's all lies. In my anger, I banged my forehead on an iron post. You can beat yourself up here. I'd seen Lena be many things, but not ruthless and indifferent. Wait, let's talk calmly. We have nothing to talk about. She crossed the football ground, and I trailed behind, trying in vain to persuade her to listen to me. I don't know why I'm doing all this. To prove that I'm right? So I won't be misunderstood? So I'll look better in her eyes? Or is there some other reason? In any case, at that moment, I just felt that it was necessary. We came to the square. Lena was pretty fast. I could barely keep up with her. I had to say something. My head was filled with different options, but nothing suitable. Wait! No answer. Listen! No answer. Will you stop it? No answer. We'll wake the whole camp. So what? What's the difference? Strange, but at that moment I was more worried about our behavior than Lena. She stopped. Thanks for trying to accompany me. I'll go alone now. Lena said bitterly. You haven't listened to me yet. To me, it already seems that I've already listened, several times even. So what do you want from me? What? Me? From you? Nothing at all. She sounded much more confident than me. There was no trace of doubt in her eyes. What can I say? What can I do? Damn it! I was ready to burst into tears. Don't get so emotional. Nothing happened. Nothing happened? Something definitely happened. You won't lose anything if you pay no attention to me. Let me decide that. No, seriously. Why? There are many pleasant activities you could choose to do. Well, to be honest, I don't need it anyway. If you don't need it, then why do you constantly mention Alyssa? Lena's face changed. This is none of your business, get it? No, now it is my business. She looked at me as if she was ready to kill. Why are you bothering me? You have her, so go to her. She won't refuse, I assure you. Lena started screaming. Her hair disheveled, her face flushed, and her eyes bloodshot. Calm down. I won't go to her. Why would you even think so? Just see. I'm here now, and I won't go anywhere. She seemed to calm down a bit. What's going on here? I turned around and saw Alyssa lazily chewing a bun. In the wrong place at the wrong time. This situation is a perfect example. I just froze in surprise, not knowing what to say. But Lena was smarter. Time to pass him on. Catch! Alyssa looked surprised. No wonder she hadn't heard the entire conversation.
What? I said catch.
Within a moment, Lena became like she was before, calm and unruffled. What should I catch?
Him.
She pointed her finger at me with disgust.
He complains about how he loves you, how he can't live without you, and stuff like that.
What? Alyssa's eyes popped open wide.
No, that's all wrong.
Lena's just joking. I giggled nervously.
Why? That's exactly what's happening.
Listen, everything has its limits, I said quietly to her. Do you want there to be victims?
Why? I already suggested that you should go to her.
I don't know what you're talking about here, but don't involve me.
You don't know?
Lena said it softly, but her voice had a trace of rage in it.
The same thing again?
Alyssa looked at her, frightened. Listen, I understand that you... Well, but I don't know. Really, not a single word, not even a single thought about him, I swear.
You don't know?
Oh, shit! Yo, what the fuck? Lena jumped at her, and before I realized, smashed Alyssa with a powerful right hook. Well, I thought I'd understand a simple slap, but such a blow could break someone's jaw. Alyssa collapsed and seemed to lose consciousness. What should I do? What the fuck? What the fuck is happening? What the hell? She just fucking knocked Alyssa the fuck out. Holy fucking shit. What is happening right now? I don't understand. Okay, we're saving here first off. She just fucking socked Alyssa. Okay. Holy fucking baloney. Here's the thing. If I help... So clearly, Lena has feelings for me, but she thinks that Alyssa has feelings for me, and she thinks I have feelings for Alyssa. What? So she fucking just sucked the fuck out of her. If I help Alyssa, Lena's just going to be like, oh, I told you so. Okay, we're not going to interfere. I decided that whatever happens, it doesn't concern me. But on the other hand, how can I remain indifferent? Am I a real man? What are you doing? I ran over to the fallen girl and tried to figure out if she was alive at all. Are you completely out of your mind? If you want to leave, to shut up or to do anything else, fine. But this is turning into a complete madhouse. Maybe you need a straitjacket so nobody else will get injured. Lena stood, clenching her fists. You could even break your hand with such a blow. You don't understand anything. The tears welled up, flowing down her face, and she fled from the square. It seemed to me that I could still hear Lena sobbing while I was bringing Alyssa around. Finally, she came back to consciousness. You alive? Are you okay? Alyssa moved her jaw from left to right. I'll live. I helped her up. I told you about her. Well, that doesn't matter now. You have to get to the infirmary. It's too late for the infirmary. I'll have a good night's rest, and in the morning I'll go there. Okay, then I'll go with you. I can't refuse, Alyssa said, trying to give me a smile. All the way we kept silent. She was probably not really able to talk, and I couldn't find the right words to say. All of this was a real shock for me. I found myself a mere spectator of a drama in which I just took in the main part. After the door closed behind Alyssa, I stood for a long time and looked at her cabin. What should I do after all this? Fatigue came over me. I had to sleep. Hold up. Oh shit. Oh, okay. Hold on. Whoa. Hold up. Alright, that's my bad, homie. Oh, fuck. Okay. So, in this moment, I was supposed to interfere. So, let's help Alyssa. What are you doing? I ran over to the phone girl. So, yeah, okay. Okay, so this is all, like, the same stuff. I think Lane is now in a state in which she's unlikely to adequately assess reality. Completely broken, I fell down onto the bed and drifted to sleep. Sheesh, dude. Fuck me. Oh my god. Day 7, huh? So I think this is basically just kind of indicating that, yes, you're on the Lena route. Alright, well, I think I'm going to end it up there for today. Things are getting... I think saying that they're getting heated up is a bit of a understatement, completely honestly, here. So, good fucking lord. Let's get back to the main menu so we can close this off. But yeah, so that was an insane fucking event. So, oh my gosh. I did not expect Lena to fucking knock the shit out of Alyssa. That is... So it looks like my theory's pretty fucking correct here in that they are polar opposites of each other. Oh my god. Sheesh, dude. What the fuck? She just... Okay. Well... we're just gonna have to see what happens next time. I am completely left speechless from that. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this time. I hope you guys enjoyed, because I gotta tell you, I'm really enjoying this, and I cannot wait to see what the other girls' paths are like, if this path is this fucking crazy. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this time. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, that'd be awesome. If you could leave a like on the video, and if you enjoy this series or any other series or videos on the channel, then I recommend hitting the subscribe button and turning on the post notifications so you can be notified whenever I upload a new video. Well, that is gonna be it for this one, and I'll see you in the next video.